weekend deal, and we told you earlier that we'll be having a guest join us to take up certain issues, and I know the mind-boggling one. All of that we'll get to discuss, but to help me welcome on in the studio the president of Nigerian Consumers Protection Network, member of the National Technical Investigative Panel on Power System Collapse. That's between June and October 2013. And this is a very interesting one at the moment. Member of the recently constituted Presidential Ad Hoc Committee on Review of Electricity Tariff in Nigeria, August 2020, in the person of Mr. Kunle Kola Olubiyo. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome to our studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let me start on a very light note by saying happy birthday.
Thank you.
2 days ago.
Birthday, not just birthday, Golden Jubilee.
50.
Yes, 50.
And I was wondering whether that's why your mustache is a bit of a
yes,
golden.
I'm a golden boy, so thank you very much.
That's a good one.
Pleasure, yeah.
So we're going to be speaking with the golden boy, who is also representing us in a lot of ways. Let's start with the tariff. Nigerians have been crying the whole of this week. Everybody has been, the media has been, buzzing, all manner of things. Share with me this new tariff. Is it well deserved or is it not? And whatever your answer is, I need you to buttress it with reasons.
Thank you very much. Whenever I go to TV stations like this, I'm conscious of different environment. This is the NTA, and so whatever we are saying here, we need to manage information with some level of responsibility and decorum.
Thank
and
you.
so because this is African biggest or largest network, and so that's our pride. And so we are being watched globally. But coming to the issue of tariff, very recently, the media space have been awash with issues relating to review of electricity tariff. A review in itself is not a one-way traffic. The essence of multi-year tariff order is that you recall that recently there was energy glut or energy dump because of the COVID-19. Countries, the oil-producing countries, were producing PMS or crude oil byproducts, and there were no markets. So supply, ordinarily demand chase supply. And when demand chase supply, you have the market variables. But we found ourselves in a situation where supply was excessively in glut form chasing demand. And so people were paying some conglomerate to come and offload product from vessels because of demurrage. So it crashed below the negative. So in that wise, there was a downward review. So what we are saying is that we are speaking to government, we are speaking to public that for this month now, the 2020 budget that was reviewed, in my committee that has Fola Adeola of GTB as the chair, and Charles Soludo, former governor of CBN, you have Makoju, these are big names, and we got presentation from various stakeholders. I'm a member, like you said, President Nigeria Consumer, representing you and I, and the president. The president is a consumer and everybody in government. So we got presentation from Generation Company, represented by Lumbelu and Dr. Joy Ogadi. Lumbelu, formerly of UBA, is into generation, transport power. We got presentation from the distribution company, Professor Ledare, Professor of Energy Economy, meter manufacturers, Engineer Kola Balogun, representing the so across board, and the Minister of Finance. And the presentation made by the Minister of Finance is that at this point, post-COVID-19, the nation economy or nation as a state is at economic crossroad. Now we have a choice to choose between the collapse of the economy. I will not want Nigeria to collapse. You will not want Nigeria to collapse. Everybody out there will not want Nigeria to collapse. So I will not want, a reenactment of the Arab Spring. So what we have now is that we are oil-producing country, be it U.S. share, be it other African country. The product we have now, our supply is chasing demand, not demand chasing supply. So we are in the negative. Now, you recall that this same man who is a member of my committee, there was a time there was a global recession. And because of recapitalization of Nigerian bank under the leadership of Soludo as CBN governor, Nigeria was able to, upscale the absorptive capacity and absorb the risk, the shock from that, because we took some proactive steps. So in this 2020 review budget, the truth of the matter is that every month we have a deficit of 50 to 100 billion bill to pay as deficit. Deficit to fixed cost, deficit to padded cost of tariff, deficit to inflated cost of tariffs, like you say, gold, deficit to gold-plated prices, deficit to inefficiencies in the sector. But I'm coming in pricing methodology. So, but government has a responsibility.
Okay.
And now, consumers and government is being stampeded. Now, it is better for you to take decision that comes with like a bitter pill than not taking at all. So what the federal government has done is that, as it is now, our product, we are running on budget deficit. And we have done, from the state to federal, we have done downward review of the budget. And the tariff market shortfall was not accommodated. So if you go September, October, you don't pay for the shortfall of this bill. I told you the background that resulted in this pricing methodology. If you don't pay for this shortfall, the gas generation company, which account for 80% of the grid source energy, they will shut down. And when they shut down, Nigerians will not want to know what government is going through. Even if you are looking for loan, no loan is not even readily available now because everybody is feeling the impact of the COVID. So based on inability now, as it is now, between September and October, what government have to do, which we have to bend backwards at end user, is that government have made adjustment in tariff. When I say government, it's not federal government. Government as represented by institution. Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission has the mandate to do that as a regulatory agency in the sector. So inability for now is that we are going upward in the review because we must keep the nation running. But as a member of that committee,
sir, please, can I this is very technical, and I'm going to ask the questions that Nigerians out there will be asked. Are you saying that the increase in tariff, despite the services we are getting that is not commensurate, is okay? Can you just be plain without being so technical? Yes. That the increase in tariff is...
I'm going through caps.
Please, we're the one of... just answer this one as simple as you can, because the technicalities are not helping.
The point I've laid is that I've seen in the past, when we are doing... what we call customer reconciliation, I've seen in the past that federal government has opened its door for negotiation. We have a minority report. By the time we finish my committee assignment, I look at the whole report. It talks about tariff, it talks about other issues. But because I went into that committee with about 2 decades of goodwill, my first line of interest is service and passion to the people, selflessness. And that is what advocacy and consumer representation represent. So when I got the report, I refused to sign on one reason, not because I disagree, but I felt that I will not append my signature to this. So we must have a minority report that will encapsulate all our views. And we presented minority report directly to the President, Minister of Finance, the Chief of Staff to the President, what have you. And so what we are saying is that for now, for us to take decision now, the budget for September and October, there is no at all for this year review budget, amended budget, there's no subsidy.
You still went back to the technicalities. Can you bring it, keep it simple?
Every month, yes, every month, the bills, for example, every month, the distribution companies at the downstream says that they are running at losses. They are selling below
when they're not giving Nigerians light.
No, I'm talking about, we'll come to that. Let us address the tariff. They say they are running at below cost price. So with the bills they are presenting to government, every month there's always a shortfall. When somebody brings a product to the supermarket to sell and is selling for like 10 naira and is saying The cost of this thing is costing me 15 naira. Federal government cannot say shut down, continue to bring the product. So federal government through Nigerian bulk electricity trading company, the MBED, the bulk trader, pay subsidy like 5 naira extra on the 10 naira. So every month now, we've been paying deficit, according to their own analysis, we've been paying a deficit of market shortfall of 50 to 100 billion every month. Now, because we don't have the luxury of that resources now, and it's not, and you put that into budget, the president will not dip into his pocket. So we don't have that resources.
Mr. Kola, sorry I'm cutting you short. We will get back to continue this discussion. What she's trying to find out is the minds of Nigeria in a clear term. Now
For
we have,
August,
hang on.
for September bill and October.
Now we're having higher bills to pay for light. Are we also going to have more hours for light? But you will answer that question right after now. Let's go to Sokoto and take a little bit of reports on the windmill as another source of power generation.
This is the look of things in a country which has suffered a setback in power for decades. For Aminu and many other people at the Sokoto Market Old site, fuel-powered generator remain their last resort.
For 2 days, we don't have power supply. This has been the case for 3 years. We rely on power generators, although it is noisy and uncomfortable.
Currently, Nigeria has very mega generation of electricity. And distributions also has so many challenges.
Not much power plant have been built, and there is no day that will come and pass without additional load to the power infrastructure.
Existing power infrastructures in Sokoto State have carrying capacity of about 70 to 80 megawatts, less than the state's power needs. Still, consumers often don't seem to bother shutting down bulbs even in the broad daylight.
Let people be aware that the little electricity at your disposal needs to be used effectively, but there's need for energy efficiency. We're encouraging people to use energy-saving appliances.
Deployment of prepaid meters will definitely make people to be conscious of their money, so that you will not find, once prepaid meters are deployed all over, you will not find electricity being wasted.
It is captured in the national power policy to go for energy mix as a feasible solution to provide enough power, yet alternative sources at disposal are often only explored in isolated cases by individuals who decide to end their ordeal at once.
Sometimes in 2005, the Energy Commission of Nigeria has developed or had developed what it called the National Energy Master Plan. In that master plan, targets have been set for renewable energy contribution to our national energy mix, both for immediate, medium, and long term. But up to now, not 1 kilowatt is being generated and contributed to the national grid.
This part of the country enjoys about 10 hours of sunlight daily at peak seasons, enough to supply sustainable solar power.
We have in the country a potential of between 3.5 to 7 kilowatt hour per meter square of solar radiation, which in Sokoto falls towards the extreme high. So we have adequate potentials that we can generate power that can meet our need.
We can also use solar energy, such as biomass, solar thermal energy, solar photovoltaic energy, to generate power, to augment what we have in existence. Because some of the projects, the IPP projects, executed by state government, if the state government would have considered solar energy, it would have been a history.
Setback in power stands between the country's dream in socio-economic growth for too long. Deliberate effort should be made at least to improve on the long dark days which have stalled Nigeria's ambitious race among peer nations.
All right, it is still Weekend Deal, and I still have my guest, very vibrant one, seated with me, Mr. Kola Kunle. And just before we took a break, Patience was pressing for you to tell us, are we going to have light and more light, duration speaking, and is it going to take off almost immediately as the tariff has also taken off? Before I ask you the next question, let's take it up from there.
Thank you very much. As it is now, there's no magic we can do in 1 month, 2 months. But a journey of 1,000 miles, we start with the first step. The operators, the regulator entities have asked for increase in tariff. And we look at the timing, yes, but electricity is a product. And they've asked for tariff. And representing the consumer, we are going, like I said, what we are looking at is that for September and October, this is a bitter pill that we have to swallow. Moving forward, beyond October, we will not rest on our house in negotiating with government, because thermal stations, those that are gas to power generation, account for 80% of the generation that come to the grid. And the major component, the feedstock, is gas. The gas pricing before now is denominated in dollar, based on the JVC, joint venture contract and JVA, joint venture agreement, signed before the preceding this government, before the coming to being of this administration. So we've made our position clear in our minority report that government needs to, emphasize on domestic obligation of gas. Certain percentage equity have to be sold in naira, because the official exchange rate is 360. But the reality is that most of these operators don't have access to official exchange rate window. Just like the content that goes into StarTime now, your partner, they buy in dollars, and they want to look for exchange rate. They go to the black market or the parallel market. Between the black market, even now, and the official exchange rate, that's 120 naira differential. Yeah. So when they do transaction, when transaction, is denominated in dollars, we need to look at this fiscal policy, and this we are discussing. When the transaction is denominated in dollar, and they want to now reconcile, they pay them at 280, and they will buy the dollars at 480, because they can't go, because of the demand, they can't be going to exchange rate at the CBN official window. So that alone, consumers are bearing that. Now the gas is the bill they are giving to government. Government have responsibility, and what government is taking decision. The bill they are giving to government, the invoice for gas is $4 MBTU. Okay, the actual cost, there was a time it was selling for $1.80. So on that unit of MBTU, federal government is bearing the burden on behalf of you and I, for them to just be in business, bearing burden of $2.20. If you look at it, it's about times 3. So there are aggregate of technical, commercial, and collection losses, AT&C losses. So that's why I say there are inefficiencies that government is paying for. Government have been paying me that I'm saying, I'm a patriotic citizen, and you are a patriotic citizen, that government is being stampeded. Federal government, the government, you bring big, we will shut down if you don't pay us. So when I raised this issue, the Minister of Finance, it drew attention to that, because Mr. President background is not from economy. So we need to advise Mr. President. So between now and October, we will pay this. But what we are looking at is that the federal government has set up a committee to look at all the issues that accumulated into inefficiency. So that we are looking at by October, tariff supposed to go up and down. It's not one-way traffic.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Kola. A lot of technicalities that if you want to talk about, I'm sure, I think I'm even getting more confused all of a sudden. But let's go to Medugri. Thank you. I must say thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Medugri and see rural electrification in that state.
Electrification is the process of bringing electrical power to rural and remote areas. Rural communities are suffering from colossal market failure as the national grids fall short of their demand for electricity.
The ministry is working with the REB, which has been effectively carried out some projects in different areas, both in the rural and urban areas. Especially now, we have carried out some projects in Askira Uba, Dambua Chibok, Mafa Bama Chibok, Gula in Haul, Jaragol in Bayo, and Madu Selumti in MMC. All town distribution network is also being executed by the ministry. In addition to establishment of the service station, the ministry is working hand in hand with the Yola Distribution Company. In fact, most of the communities now have shifted their complaint to the ministry, whereby we intervene by providing transformers, establishing the substations.
Prior to insurgency, about 50% of rural settlements have been electrified with joint effort from federal, state government, World Bank, and communal contributions. All these are destroyed due to the insurgency, though recently there have been successful efforts in the electrifying rural areas such as Bama, Mafa, and Kondiga, where displaced people have returned.
His Excellency, the Governor of Borno State, is making so many efforts to ensure that the rural areas or the IDPs has returned back to their ancestors' land without providing all the livelihood support. So an power supply is one of the support that they need. And therefore now we are going to push our effort towards connecting the rural areas with the national grid. This part, although there are some areas that have this power supply, but due to the insurgency, which they have destroyed all the installations, but still we have to rehabilitate them.
So far, the electrification plans and projects are taking shape, although challenges such as lack of security in respect of installed power installation and engineers carrying out their duties on electrification are issues of concern among others.
The main challenges that we are facing, especially in at the rural areas, is that the security challenges, we are facing it seriously, and at the same time, with the COVID-19 problem, the budget has been seriously affected. The main objective for us to provide solar power energy is that we wanted the rural areas to benefit from, especially those areas that outside metropolitan or far. With this, the advantage is that is less cost price, and at the same time is affordable, and then maintenance is very low.
Like we always say, the intention is right. A lot of policies and a lot of things are put in place to make sure that we rectify the situation in the power sector. And we hope that at the end of the day, these intentions pull through and we get where we want to go. Elizabeth, our last guest.
He is vibrant.
Vibrant, and he talked a lot of technicalities.
Yes, but the only thing that might take away there is that it's a necessary step. And I know that our government have a good intention for us. Whatever decision they are making, it is for the good of the people. And he's just told us all of that. So within now and September, in his words,
yes,
this is a bitter pill we have to swallow. But after that, it may come down. Definitely the lights will also go up. Let's look forward to that period. There's always time for toiling, and there is time for harvest.
Yes,
I guess it's the tilling and toiling for us now in the electrical power. Moving on.